Okay, so this next hour, myself and Lena Vincent-Gavin are going to be splitting this time, and she should be joining us soon. I'm going to start first to talk about youth ministry and kind of the overall picture, and then she'll dive in a little bit more to children's ministry, which is a newer ministry. And gonna share my screen. Everybody can see that? Okay, great. So hi everybody. We're going to give you kind of an overview of National Youth Ministry, which I like to say is working in youth ministry is the best job ever because you get to work with the best people and it's the most fun. It's a very frontline experience, as I like to say. And whenever I introduce youth ministry, I like to talk about the why, because I think generally people tend to overlook youth ministry and see it as like, child's play or, oh, that's nice, it's good that the youth get together and that kind of thing. But actually, I've really learned over the years how invaluable youth ministry is. And I love this quote. It's taken from a book called Lead Small. Says that kids need two important nouns so they can anchor their lives to something solid. They need a person and they need a place. And I think that's really true for, this demographic that we work with. And I always like to use myself as a specific example because for me, youth ministry was really transformative and is the reason why I'm here. I didn't do a gap year program. I didn't do any of that. I just stayed in the realm of youth ministry and it served me quite well over the years. So for me, my person was Unha, who was a Stein there as a Holdis now. And the whole idea of youth having a person is that they see the church as something that is relevant to their life, something that they can look forward to and think is exciting and has a future for them. So having a youth pastor or a youth leader who is cool and engaging and older and in the next phase of life is something that really excites a young person. To have that kind of attention from somebody who's older than you, you feel like, oh wow, like I'm building this special relationship with somebody and they're talking about God and they're talking about true parents and they know how to drive and they have a cool car and all these things. It all piles in and plants this firm foundation for young people to see a future for themselves where the church is relevant for their young adult life. And I have to apologize. I am like super pregnant, so breathing at this point is a little bit hard for me when I'm giving talks. So I apologize if I'm a little short of breath. So also youth ministry is all about giving a place, and how important that is for a teenager is that this is like the time where they're making big decisions in their life. They're starting to make, concepts about their future and where they want to be. And having this community where they can interact with people who are talking about faith-based things and balance out what they're learning in school and what they're talking about with their friends at school is so healthy. It becomes much more natural to be able to talk about their spiritual lives and to be able to make that an integral part of their identity and not just something they do on Sundays when they go to church. So youth ministry is so important for communities because it provides those people and it provides those places for young people to build their identity. So in our nation, these demographics are taken from I don't know, Milhan gave them to me, but I think they're from all the different big blessings that we did that everybody had to register for. And it's kind of amazing to look at this number that, it's over 2,500 youth that we're overseeing in this nation, all the way from infants to high schoolers. Even more specifically, the demographic that I work with most closely is 6th grade through 12th grade, so that's middle and high school, and that's about 1,500. And when I showed that to the youth pastors this last retreat, they were really flabbergasted. They had no idea that there were so many young people. I mean, obviously we're not reaching all of them and we don't, have interactions with all of them, but it really shows that this is a great need for our nation to really focus on. So I wanted to give a little bit of a picture of what youth ministry kind of looks like. And in my work with youth ministry, I really learned, and Tasna said the same thing, that Each community is very different. The experiences are different. The style is different. How they do things is different. And what I've learned most is that a lot of it has to do with the community size. So these pictures are from our our groups that we call the Loud and Proud groups. These are the communities that have 40 or more high school youth that they're regularly interacting with. So you can see there's this kind of large group, this loud energy, this loud flavor. This picture on the left is all the youth pastors who are within the Loud and Proud group, and then this is the Bay Area Youth Ministry. These communities will usually meet at least once a week, sometimes more than once a week, and they'll do some spiritual practices where they will, cover a theme and have a talk and have a discussion, have an activity, have prayer, but they'll also do things like movie nights and going hiking and having fun experiences together. These pictures are from our small and intimate groups, which are groups that have 10 or less high school students. And I really love this picture on the left. This is Amy from Omaha, Nebraska. And she, I don't know how she does it, but she really has 2 high school students in her youth ministry. And she is so consistent. They meet once a month. And she has this really beautiful internal night that she plans with them. And she really makes youth group work for that size. A lot of people feel like, oh, I only have 1 or 2 high school students, but Amy has really figured out how to make that work. And then these are the pictures of all the youth pastors who work within this smaller size community. So in these communities, they'll meet maybe once a month, maybe sometimes every other month. A lot of times they will meet up with other surrounding communities so that you can feel like you're a part of a bigger community. And they will do a lot more social gatherings and like apple picking and trips like that. And then they'll sneak in some internal content as well. So the picture of how we're doing what we're doing right now is basically me, and I have been overseeing 32 youth ministry communities and not been doing the best job in the world because it's a lot and I only work part-time. But recently having Lena come on, working as the Sunday school coordinator, has been really exciting, and I'm very excited to see those things develop. She'll share about that later on this call. So overall vision and purpose, and I'll dive into these a little bit more. For me, when I first took this job, the whole purpose for me was to support youth pastors, because I remember as a youth pastor, I really didn't feel like I had support. I really felt like I was on my own, even, from my local community and from headquarters and national ministry. I didn't feel like I had much support. So definitely my goal is to offer support and resources for local youth pastors, be able to provide a platform for youth pastors, and also connect them to national headquarters. Because when you work in the world of youth ministry, it's very grounded, it's very, cut, like these are the simple things we're working on, and sometimes they can be really difficult to connect with the Providence and with your parents and those kind of things. So hoping to make that kind of connection where youth ministry is a part of the wider Providence. So like I said, the most important thing for me coming into this job was developing this support network and a place where we can share things with each other. 2 years ago at the last retreat I did, I asked, we took a poll about the greatest challenges that youth pastors are facing. And one of those things was not feeling supported and burning out and not being able to have time management and balance the different things that are going on in their life. Because all of these guys are, under 25. They are either in college or working full-time, and still, they're trying to go through their own matching process and getting blessed and just figuring out their own life. Some of them are still struggling in their own faith and figuring out what they believe while they're still in this role of nurturing their high school and middle school brothers and sisters. So they really need a lot of support. Like Tasna, we have a Facebook page, and this is, for that age group, is definitely the best place to send out information. I do emails as well, and I do a lot of follow-up text messages because that's what this generation is all about. But yeah, Facebook is the best way to communicate with them. We also have a website, and unfortunately for the last 2 weeks, our website has been down for some reason, and they're in the process of fixing it. But the encouraging thing about that is that I've had so many emails from people saying, hey, what's wrong with the website? I'm trying to get resources from the website. Even like people I haven't heard from in like 5 years are actually using the website. So that was a nice thing to hear. And I went through the back end here so I could just show you certain things. All the links are broken, but wanted to just give you a highlight of what's on the website. So in the youth ministry section, up here on the top, you'll see there's home, youth ministry, Sunday school, and regional events. So the youth ministry is primarily what I'm focusing on. Sunday school, Lena's going to start working on the regional events, is where we post things like camps and workshops and things like that that are happening nationwide. So on the youth ministry site, we have 3 main areas. The first one is the toolbox, which is this one. And I'll get into these themes a little bit later, but all of our content is organized by our 5 national themes that we focus on. And we have like monthly themes that we work on. So if the theme of the month is connect, you click on connect. Sorry, all the links are broken, so I have to do this way. Here we go. Okay, so when you get to the Connect page, it gives you like an overview of what this theme is about. And as you scroll through, it's broken down into 4 levels of depth in terms of activities and content. So the first level is just let's have fun. And there's all these different games and activities. You would click on it, it's got a basic description, and then you click read more, and it has a very simple step-by-step process you can follow. Second level of depth is getting comfortable, getting to know each other. Third level is opening up, revealing a deeper part of yourself. Fourth level is reaching out, opportunities to go outside of yourself to care for others. And the cool thing about this is that most of these activities either I have personally submitted or I've been collecting them from the nation for the last 3 years. So when people send in reports or I check in with them, I'm able to say, wow, that's such a good idea. Could you write up that activity? And I'll post it on the website. So this is really like a true and tested resource that people use pretty regularly for their own youth group practices. Also on the website, so we go back here, under the curriculum tab, there's a DP curriculum which is geared towards high school students. This is 1-hour lesson plans focusing on different aspects of Divine Principle, just chapter 1 and chapter 2 so far. And it includes things like YouTube videos and music and very engaging activities. Uncle Jerry has been overseeing that project that I've been working on, and it's a really nice resource. We have the new updated Ilsham curriculum here, and then we have this really nice idea. It's the Family Hundoke series, which has a Hundoke reading and some check-in points for parents and youth to read together and go through together. And then the last area of the youth ministry website is the stock room, and these are all the different topics that youth pastors are most likely to teach on. And so if you are going to teach about God this month, you can click on that. I'm not sure the link is actually going to work. Yeah, unfortunately it's not. But I took all these quotes from the Chunseung and just nice, really relevant quotes and bolded out specific portions that are relevant for young people. So a good resource if someone's giving a talk or doing a prayer walk or just looking for inspiration on those different topics. So that is that portion of the website. Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay, and then the last area that I want to cover from my side that, that I've been working on is these themes. So these 5 themes are taken from the Purpose-Driven Youth Ministry, which is basically the same thing as Purpose-Driven Church, but modeled for youth. And when I was a youth pastor, maybe like 5 years into my ministry, I really saw that we weren't actually accomplishing much in the long run. And so I started doing a lot of research and reading books and figuring out what we could do to make it better. And when I read this book, it really changed my whole understanding of youth ministry and having clear purposes and knowing what you're trying to accomplish. And so these 5 themes are modeled after the 5 themes that come from that book. And the way that we apply it is we have monthly themes that all the communities are focusing on in some way, shape, or form. So this month is April. Everyone's working on Empower. And the whole idea is that these are very broad themes. And so I definitely super encourage local customization. And it took a little bit of time for people to get on board with it, and there was a little bit of resistance. But actually now it's really cool that everybody really sees the value of having these. And what's nice is when we have these calls with the youth pastors where we check in about how things are going, we're saying, okay, we worked on Empower this month. What were some of your best practices? What did you guys do? And everybody has this common language, common foundation for them to be able to share ideas or ask questions or focus on specific topics. And I've seen that be really helpful because up until that point, everybody was doing really good stuff, but there was no way for people to share common strategies together. So this has been really effective. And we call them the 5 elements of youth ministry. And just briefly, the first one is connect, which is all about horizontal relationships. And it can go, from super superficial to super deep. And that's the idea, is that there's such a broad range for people to work with and be creative with. Inspire, which is the vertical aspect, knowing God's presence, being able to really feel that God is your heavenly parent. Empower, which is about having healthy habits, both spiritual and physical healthy habits. Contribute, which is about giving of yourself, learning about what it is you have to offer to the wider society, and finding ways to use that to serve others. And then expand, which is, we say, sharing the love. This was our attempt at including evangelism in youth ministry and figuring out what that might look like and how it shapes different ministries. So here's an example. This is just from our last retreat. When we come together, we talk about these themes, and you can see here's the national theme for each month. Then they take time. I filled this out as an example, but they take time to figure out, okay, here's the theme of connect. I'm going to figure out what aspect of connect I want to focus on that's relevant to my youth. So there's a couple examples of how you might be specifically focusing on the theme in your community. And then going deeper, what kind of internal content you want to do, what kind of fun content you want to do, and then talking about how to take care of your staff or your parents, interacting with parents. And this has been really helpful. As a youth pastor who's 21, 22 in college, you're not able to really see beyond just this week. I'm going to try to get this week of youth ministry done. So having this kind of practice has been very helpful. It helps people keep engaged with the themes and also be able to actually accomplish something in the long run for that semester. So to give kind of an overview of what National Youth Ministry has been working on, I just wanted to, I'll go through this pretty briefly, but talk about a few of the different things that I focused on last year, and because pretty much I've been doing the same thing this year as well. So the first couple months of last year, we had the Youth Pastors Retreat. Spent a lot of time working on Divine Principle curriculum and putting that on the website and finalizing it. We had a mentoring program, which Tasna and Teresa and I collaborated with between our ministries, where we had high school students paired with college students, and similar to what Tasna was talking about with the GPA alumni program. And then we had the pastor and youth pastor relationship series that Milhan and I have been doing, and this is something that I'm super passionate about, really trying to develop these relationships between pastors and youth pastors, because there seems to be such a big disconnect. And Milhan and I had some time working together where he was my pastor and I was his youth pastor, and sharpening our tools and figuring out how to work together through some challenging situations. So being able to use that as a model for what we learned, and there's homework assignments and that kind of thing. So we are going to do that in the fall, I think, Milhan. That's our plan, right? In April through June, we did a gap year webinar where we feature all the different service programs that people can participate in and learn more about those programs. I worked with a team to update the ILSHM curriculum, which is now a 10-week program. And what's really cool about the new curriculum is that it is really focusing on the parent and child relationship. So all of the homework and a lot of the readings happen between the parents and the kids, because that's really the most important thing that happens for kids in those middle school years, that they build that as a foundation where they're communicating regularly with their parents. And then What's really nice about this summer is I don't have to do much except support the awesome summer camps that are happening across the nation. So I do care packages, we do some webinars to share resources and best practices and things like that. And then in May, we did a senior grad night, and we'll do that this year too. We did it on the East Coast. Hopefully we're going to expand that to different communities, and maybe sub-regionally it can be organized. But the whole point is to be able to honor the seniors in high school who are leaving and joining young adult ministry. And so you can see from that picture on the left-hand corner, Tasna was there, and we had this very nice ceremony of her welcoming them into young adult ministry and being able to talk about what it's like to be a young adult. And we also had some fun dancing and good food and stuff like that. This summer we did the Hyojung workshop and the YAYAM leadership retreat. And then this last fall, we hired Lena, which was awesome, and tested out these new pre-K curriculum, sending out winter workshop care packages. And something new that we did was working with Uncle Jerry. That's this picture on the left-hand corner where youth who are lecturing in upcoming winter workshops had a chance to practice with really experienced first-generation lecturers, Divine Principle lecturers, and they had a chance to actually practice in front of them, receive feedback from them, and then practice one more time in front of them so they could hone their craft, hone their skill of teaching Divine Principle. The hope is really that we don't have to depend so much on these few key Divine Principle lecturers, but that we empower young people to feel confident to teach Divine Principle and also have the training needed to do that successfully. And then we had, of course, we offer the Winter Workshop scholarships each year. Besides those big idea things, each month I put out different resources. So based on the theme that's coming up, I compile some new ideas or some new activities and send it out in an email and on Facebook. This was for Inspire. There are 4 different activities that I featured just as an easy to use thing for youth pastors for that month. We do small group calls where we get together on Zoom and share resources and share how things are going, also check in with our personal lives and things that we're working on in our ministries and that kind of thing. And then something that the youth pastors really appreciate is this report compilation of what's happening each month in the communities. So, we do these small group calls that we get together and share, but being able to look at this and see, hey, here's what they did in Kansas, here's what they did in Chicago, usually a picture included, just a brief, summary of what's happened. And this has been something that a lot of youth pastors have commented has been really nice for them, just to feel connected and remember that they're not the only ones that are doing youth ministry, that others are also trying hard to continue to invest. And then, of course, taking care of the website. So overall, this year, big ideas that I'm working on is really supporting Lena and making sure this Sunday school / children's ministry takes off, because clearly it's a need. Also, I just finished the content for this new program, which is we're calling Devoted. But basically, we took the Level 1 Blessing Workshop and turned it into a small group program for 11th and 12th grade high school students. And it's a 5-week program, 3 hours each week, where they have a high content reading, but a lot of discussion and videos and things like that, where they're really diving into what it means to prepare for the blessing. And it's all focused on my personal growth and being aware of myself. And I see this as becoming just as important as Ilshim has been in other communities, that this is kind of like the send-off for youth as they become young adults. Before they go into college, before they go to GPA or whatever it is, they have a sense of, okay, here's what really matters. I have a understanding of my faith, and I know what the blessing is, and I know what I need to do to get there. And then also another big idea is just really expanding this YAYAM Leaders Retreat to include other ministries, which we're already on the way there. I'm very excited about that. And then some other areas that still just need a lot of support for youth pastors, which I have not been doing as much of a good job as I would like to do. But these were the 3 things that youth pastors had shared was most challenging about the work that they were doing. The first one is the pastor and youth pastor relationship and how difficult that can be to get on the same page and communicate well and have a healthy relationship. Support for their leadership, because it's, if you can remember when you were 20 and 22, which was so long ago, right? You're still like forming and figuring out who you are. So it's an exhausting thing to be in this role constantly where youngers are looking up to you. And a lot of them stay in ministry about 2 years and then they retire, but most of them really actually burn out and they don't find other ways to give to their ministry. They kind of disappear. So they need the support so that they don't just disappear and have all this resentment that's been built up. And that, for me, Tasna spent a lot of time talking about it, but I really think having these parental figures involved in ministry is going to be such a huge deal for young leaders. I know for me in my community, it was a huge deal to have my Aunt Bev supporting me. And I think it's the reason I didn't burn out all those times I felt like I was burning out is because I had her really supporting me. And that last point is connected to those other points. So that is it for me. Kind of a lot of content. Yeah. Any questions?
Just want to say thank you, Kayleigh. She has done all this and more as a mom and also part-time. It's really amazing. And I think on the foundation of that, a lot of the other things like what we're trying here with the Young Reps is possible. And I want to encourage you guys to know that there is a lot of foundation that you guys are coming on so that you don't have to build things from scratch, as you can see. So just wanted to acknowledge Kayleigh. Good job.
Thanks, Amy.
This is the second time the Hyojung workshop was mentioned. I know nothing about that, and if it's not important to cover it, it's fine. But is it like an annual thing, or?
What a great question. We put that together because True Mother was coming, and she was doing her rally, and we wanted to surround that experience because a lot of us have been to a ton of those big national gatherings and not been able to actually tie a personal, meaningful experience with it. So the hope was we created a workshop to surround that rally to kind of deepen the experience and make it relevant for young people. And it was super amazing that several of the camps that were happening at that time totally changed their schedule. I mean, Chriselle, you guys, I think it took you like a day and a half to drive there or something crazy like that. But they all brought their kids, and we had 500 people who were there participating between youth and young adults. Kind of a miracle. And it was just nice to gather all together and be able to attend the rally together. And we had a special experience with True Mother the following Sunday where she was really moved by us, and we could develop that kind of personal experience with True Mother, which most people in our generation don't have a personal testimony about relating with true parents.
Yeah, and it was really epic because it was a long time since we had that level of gathering.
Yeah.
And as Kayleigh mentioned, we didn't want it to be just, we came and attended an event. So we actually had like Reverend Thompson fly out and give like testimonies and education so that people can receive True Mother more deeply and personally. So it was really amazing for the participants.
So to answer your question, it's not actually an annual thing, but if True Mother comes again, there's some kind of foundation for something to happen, although we'll see what that is.
Yes. It was 3 staff with 500 people, so it was insane. Anyway, we won't talk about that. So yeah, any questions or comments about youth ministry? And then we have also Lena on the call, and she's going to explain about the most newest and exciting ministry that's developing in children's ministry. So, but yeah, any questions or comments for Kayleigh?
When is the website going to be back up and running, just so that?
It should be a week. Someone's working on it. They're switching whatever platform they were using before. They're switching to a different one. That takes time.
Okay, cool.
It's okay. There are a lot of questions. I mean, I spoke a lot in TAS too, so there's very similar aspects there.
Isaac had something.
Okay.
Yes. I was wondering about the Devoted. Do you have like an estimated date when that'll be ready?
Yeah, definitely by August. So by the time our next retreat is, but I am actually hoping to find a few communities to test it out and experience it before we officially launch it. Right now, it's just like in a Word document kind of feel. It's not produced or looking fancy, or it doesn't even have a logo yet. But I am going to try to find a handful of communities to just try it out with the content itself and give feedback on it. But definitely by August, everything should be all done.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds really exciting to me. So.
Me too.
All right. So maybe looks like there's no other questions. Anyway, Kaylee's going to be on through the rest of this call too. So at any point, if you do have questions about youth ministry, you can ask. But due to time, I'd like to invite up Lena to share about children's ministry. So let's welcome Lena.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Kaylee. I'm like super impressed with what's been developed with youth ministry. And I'm excited to get to that point one day with kids ministry. But yeah, I'll share my screen. So, 1 second. Okay. So yeah, I started this October, and the first few months were like a trial. So basically right now I'm focused on children's ministry. That's anywhere from birth through elementary school, which is usually till 11 or 12 depending. And then a little bit about me. I think I know a lot of you in some way. I have 2 kids. My background is elementary ed, and I have a lot of experience with kindergarten, early childhood. We had an indoor play place, did youth ministry in Chicago, and also pastoring together with my husband Jerio, and now we are in South Alabama, pastoring here. And the vision I came up with recently for kids ministry is raising up the next generation of unificationists in God's love through the teachings of our true parents. And by next generation, I don't just mean like 3rd gen specifically, but really, you know, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 1st, new kids, anyone, you know, that's being a part of our faith. And so, yeah, right now, I've just more recently kind of ventured into the role of children's ministry through Naomi and Kaylee, but I wanted to first just share about what I've mainly been doing so far, which is the preschool Sunday school development. And the lessons have been going out weekly. They're really, I guess, mainly for ages like 3, 4, 5, but I think they can really work from 2 to 6. Here's just some pictures of some of the communities, and I really want to make it interactive and fun, bringing the principle to life. So this was like our 4-position foundation little craft. And here's a map of the regions. The yellow dots are the communities participating right now across the nation, and this is just with the preschool Sunday school. And here's a list, so you can kind of see, and I can share this later in your region, who is participating, and then looking forward to more people joining. So that's been pretty exciting, actually, to have more communities joining together over these last few months. And with this age, I've been doing thematic learning, so every month is a different theme, similar to Kaylee, and then I create the lessons around that theme and try to incorporate, different principal concepts or whatever is going on in that season. Because I think that's just a real natural way, especially for little ones to learn. So like February was all about the 4 Realms of Heart. This upcoming, right now this month, so it's a little hard to read this one, but yeah, we just did seasons, and it's going to be all about growth and the stages of growth, and Earth Day will be about having dominion, and so really trying to connect it to what's going on. And actually upcoming in May will be focused on a mother's heart. With Mother's Day, there'll also be a lesson on your mother, focused on those things. And then June will be about a father's heart, focused with Father's Day and a lesson about your father. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming months. And so basically right now they're weekly interactive lessons sent out each week. The goal is that in August we can send out a full year's worth of curriculum for this age. And each lesson has several options for activities and crafts, so communities can really make it their own. And that was a lot of the positive feedback I got, was really related to teachers being happy that they can, be creative with it. I really wanted that. I know everyone has their own style, their own strengths, and so it's been really fun, like in these pictures, to just see how each community brings it to life every week. And then it also includes a home connection, where you can send it home or email it or put it on your bulletin board, but it includes what the kids learned each week and, ideas for learning at home. So these are just some pictures and some of the lessons. This one was True Parents' Birthday. When we learned about God made food, they painted with food. Love your neighbor at Christmas time, they did gingerbread houses. So just really fun filled lessons. I really feel in children's ministry in general, I just really want the kids to like fall in love with church, with that experience, the community, have a really positive, fun learning experience with their teachers, with God, our Heavenly Parent, and parents and everything, so that it's all connected, to youth ministry and young adult, and that they have really that foundation for learning and that excitement as they get older. And these are just some more of the activities. We do have a Pinterest board I'll show you in a minute, that teachers get a link to with each lesson. There's a whole Pinterest board. I think is this your daughter, Kaylee? Yeah. So this is in DC or Maryland. And there's also little like sensory ideas that kids can do. So I'll show you some of the resources right now. I don't have a website yet, but I'm working on creating one connected to the youth ministry, one where we can upload curriculum, but also some resources for teachers. So right now what I do have on Pinterest, if you just type in preschool Sunday school, there's boards, and there's a whole board for each week. So like this week was God Made Seasons, and then there's a whole board of like crafts and games, activities, also free printouts you can use in your class. So, and sensory bins, different ideas, poems, songs, so that's been really fun. And then there is a Facebook group right now that we have for all the teachers, so we can connect on there each week. And these are just the photo albums, so we have photos from each month. If I click on, let's see, February, and then we upload pictures of what different communities we're doing. So it's been really fun to connect and see what's going on across the nation. So your teachers could join these groups. And then my last part is a sample. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so right now I'm sharing it through Google Drive folders. In the future it'll be on a website, but basically each week you would get this. Like this last Sunday was God Made Seasons. And then there's the lesson, and then there's like crafts, sensory ideas, printouts, different things. And just very briefly, I'll just highlight the lesson very briefly. It starts, there's always the scripture reading. As children arrive, some sensory activity. There's always Bible scripture and Father's True Parents' words at the top. And then, anyways, it's a pretty detailed, fun lesson. Different things teachers can choose from. And let's see. Okay. So yeah, that's what's been going on so far. I did send out a survey at one point to parents of young children, and I really like this data. Was really informative. There was 35 young parents who participated, and so if you look at the blue, currently 20% of those parents drop their children off in Sunday school or nursery and enjoy Sunday service, versus the 77% down here who would like to drop off their kids at Sunday school or nursery. And this is the data from the Young Parents Across the Nation that took it. And there's a good chunk of, like 31.4% was I don't attend service because I watch my kids. Some was I bring my kids with me. Some do listen in like a baby room. So that was quite informative of just the need across the country for it. For the kids, for their own nurturing and growth, but then also for the parents to be able to enjoy that time, you know, special time together in worship and the sermon. So, and also I asked, do you bring friends to church with you? 94% was no. And then I said, what if you had a really thriving, awesome children's ministry? Would you want to bring your friends? You know, their friends probably have kids. And 74% said that they would. And then there were some notes like some other things may need to change culturally or in their service, but it's a good chunk that would. And that's where I think the kids ministries, if we have really awesome children's ministries, it's just such a natural way to witness to friends, to young families. Here's a statistic, if I can read it, let's see here. Okay, according to Lifeway research, about 2/3 of young adults who regularly attend church will leave their faith between the ages of 18 and 22. About 66% of those who leave do return between the ages of 23 to 30 as they marry and grow their family. So I think this just really shows, this is kind of how it is, not just in our faith, but across different faiths, and that it's having a good kids ministry is a place people, even our own second gen who, you know, haven't been coming or distant or whatnot, they start to think about it once they have kids. So we really want to create an exciting, welcoming place for them to come to. And this is just some pictures of an indoor play place we created and ran in Illinois a little bit ago. So another part of my dream is to really help all the kids ministries, all the churches, just get to that next level in the content, but also in the experience and the external environment of the classrooms. This is more just a play area. Of course, it'd be like a classroom, but just kind of wanted to show that inspiration. So some of my short-term goals is complete the preschool curriculum. Right now we're thinking to have a regular curriculum, probably September through June. And then in the summer, there'll be Fun Day School. I think Kaylee does this in Maryland, something similar, where, you know, summer people might be on vacation or it's always kind of a weird schedule. So having very simple, more fun lessons with outdoor activities and things. I would love to be able to get out we'll be doing it locally, like a preschool summer day camp. So sharing that with if anyone would like to try that this summer, I'd love to do that. And that it's like a vacation Bible school where kids just go like say 3 or 4 days a week, a couple hours, and they can go to that. And then other goals, more communities joining in, and then launching this curriculum in the fall. Supporting the local Sunday school teachers and ministry leaders with webinars. That's something I'm just starting, and just in general for them to have that support, you know, that collaboration with each other, that connection. I think that's made a big difference in youth ministry, and I hope to begin that with the kids ministry to really just first of all start that connection more and support each other and offer some training, which will also happen at the Yeah I Am retreat in August that I'm excited about. And then long-term goals are to have curriculums developed all the way up through 5th grade. So right now I'm thinking to have it by 2 grades together. Also just we don't have like huge amounts of kids for right now to start off. I think it'll be good clumps. And then including, divine principle, Bible, true parents' life, faith traditions, character education, and having the lessons build upon year after year so that they connect with each year. And that's something bigger I'm working on, and I'm really happy for any input you have, figuring out exactly which, Bible stories or which principal concepts are appropriate at which grade levels. That's a big part of what I'm trying to figure out. And then also longer term goal, having a national children's ministry identity and branding, just having that same experience everywhere you go, or similar at least as far as, externally the classrooms and then the website, if there's any flyers or things, just similar branding. And then maybe next year having some kind of, whether it's a national elementary camp or just something that people use locally that I can provide. Those are some ideas for the future for elementary. But yeah, basically I've just started more recently with connecting it to the larger children's ministry. At first, it's really been just focused on developing the preschool curriculum, so I'm really excited for this opportunity. I'm really excited to, use what I've learned and just honored to do this. I think it's just so huge and so important how we pass on our traditions, our faith, and for all the little kids. And I just want to support the teachers. And for how you can help, I'm still figuring out too exactly everyone's roles, but I've heard communication, I think, is a big part of the help, and that will be very helpful to communicate. And for me, since I'm in the beginning stage, I'd love to work with you more to get a better picture of just every subregion, exactly what's going on. I have the spreadsheet already of ages, but a little bit more as far as Sunday schools and who some communities have kids and don't have Sunday schools, or just different, to help me find out what's going on, and maybe even having a call with the subregion and all the local teachers. So not just a call with the teachers I'm currently working with, but it would be neat to get to know all of your local Sunday school teachers. That was something I thought maybe we could set up some time. So that's basically what I've been working on, and I look forward to your help and working with you. And that's about it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. Wow, amazing. Yes, you are God sent. So yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of experience and professionalism behind what Lena's been developing, and I think it's so amazing that we have that resource available now. And I also feel like this is one of the best ways to also reconnect second-gen families, because regardless of how they feel about the church, all parents care about quality education and a healthy community for their kids. And if we can really have Family Federation be known for one of the best kind of children's programs, I think it's a natural way of also reconnecting our second gen and also witnessing to new families. All right, comments, questions for Lena?
Yeah, I have a comment and question both. First, Lena, really I appreciate about your all efforts. Mm-hmm. And then yours awesome. Basically, I heard about your presentation through the Famicom. You're the right person, really, headquarters find the ideal right person for us. Thank you so much. You work together, everybody. And then question is, as you know, of course, you are very much focused on preschool right now because your children is that age. But as you know, also a little bit younger kids is an urgent issue, as you know. So hopefully, you and headquarters talk about it a little bit more and create as soon as possible other age curriculum too. Are you person also you're gonna do that, right? The basically.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this should all be done by sometime in the summer or the fall, the preschool one.
Okay.
And then I do want to develop more in the older ages, and I'm open to as well if anyone's interested in collaborating on that more with me. If anyone here, anyone you know has experience, feel free to let me know. Because it does take time, and I don't want it to take a whole year for each, age group. But I feel now that I've kind of been doing this for a little while, I can, hopefully it can go a little quicker. But yeah, that's a good, important point. Yeah, thank you.
I mean, we might be able to build a team during the summer at the next EIM retreat. And then you might actually have teams working on different age groups throughout the year. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
In the next year or so, we can get that complete.
Lena, I just want to share with you a couple weeks ago, my daughter's in your program, and she's a little older. She's 4. But she just loves it. She's kind of like the older sister with all the little ones. Mm-hmm. And but my son, he's 6, he'll be 7 soon, and he really struggles with Sunday school. Like he's not inspired by it. He finds it boring, and so he actually went over to the little kids Sunday school and just like loved it. And he's like, I love going there. I help all the little kids. He kind of like escaped and like got a piece of like what you guys are creating, and he just loved it.
Oh, thank you. And actually, one thing I forgot to share is in the lesson, it also now has a second teaching point that's an optional extension, because some communities are smaller or mixed age groups where they can use it. I guess it's more for age like 5, 6, but I know in Indiana, his class has like an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and he's somehow been making it work. So although I don't have the older kids yet, some of the lessons may even work with that optional extension that goes a little deeper with kids like in K1 but that's good to hear. Thanks, Tammy.
Yeah, and I love the idea of like a teacher's helper. Like if they're a bit older, right, they can actually help the younger kids and play that role and still be engaged. So that's a great idea.
That's how I would love to be added to your list. We have 13 preschoolers here in Bellingham. And we have 2 older kids who are 8, but my kids, looking at your curriculum for the short term, you could even like have that list of monthly lessons and have the teachers kind of try out different lessons with that topic, if that makes sense. Because like you can really do the same thing year after year, like the kindergarten. Then in first grade you do it again, but you just like add a couple things. So you could make it like, I mean, even I know like teaching English, the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, they do the exact same thing. They just add stuff to it each year. Right. So, and also like some of those sensory activities, middle schoolers go crazy for them. Like when I'm teaching 8th grade, like some of those silly preschool stuff, they love it. So don't get rid of all the cool little activities.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really great. I was wondering too if that could work, like keeping the same themes in each grade, but then adding more Bible stories or more principal concepts. So yeah, that's neat. I think
you could start doing that and like keep the topics the exact same, but just have, and then get ideas from teachers, what worked, what didn't, and that's how they like make curriculum in schools. So
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, but I would love to be added to your like monthly whatever that was called, so that I could start that in Bellingham.
Looks like we have another community.
Yeah. I'm actually also right now talking with Bridgeport, North Carolina, and someone from Norway wants to join. Yeah, so that's cool.
Lena, I wanted to also say that you using Pinterest, I think, is a really great way to reach out to a younger generation, because so many people use that as a platform. And I mean, all the groups seem to use Facebook, which is also really great, but Pinterest is like such a great like platform for that kind of artistic, like creative kind of activities. And a lot of people like using it. So I think that's really smart of you to use that.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, looks like not. So I think maybe Kayleigh, do you want to wrap up or? Yeah.
Nope. I'm really happy to have Lena. That's all I'll say. It was like a stars aligning experience, us coming together. So.
Is there any way to get, like basically your PowerPoints or some of the slides with more information on them? The things that were shared tonight.
Yeah, I can, Taza and I and Lena, we can send them all in one email. That's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that way you can have that as a reference and also share it with whoever you're working with in your sub-regions as well. Maybe just as a point, Kayleigh and Lena, just if you make a copy, then they can be free to edit, adjust. You would keep the original, and then they can just use as they need for the copy.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, I actually did want to hear from the two sub-regional leaders that have joined us and have been a great role model in attending this call, showing their commitment.
Yes, thank you very much.
So, yeah, maybe starting with Ernest, any comments? I'd like to hear from you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm grateful to be a part of this, and it's good information. It's also good to see brothers and sisters from around the country together. And, it's impressive what both Kayleigh and Lena are doing to not only the heart, but the effective programs that they're putting together to really take care of brothers and sisters, which is our critical concern. Higher up, we spend a lot of time in meetings, but equipping the brothers and sisters who are day by day working with young people and young adults is it's reassuring that the real work is getting done. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Reverend Patton. And Reverend Rendell, a comment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just amazed, really. The content is incredible. I'm very inspired to see that I think we're beginning to integrate this whole kind of educational course from birth all the way up to, becoming a parent yourself. This is something I've really felt we've needed for a long time. And I'm really inspired by this team, the fact that we have young mothers involved. It's really, I think this is a whole new dynamic now. And I'm really, really excited. I can see mother's wisdom actually in setting up the sub-regions. Before, we never had this opportunity really to kind of break it down even on this level. So I think it's going to be an amazing journey for everybody. So look forward to it. Thank you. Thanks, Naokimi. You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. It's all Kayleigh and my amazing team.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, sure.
And I want to add to the importance of Reverend Rendell and Reverend Patton being here, because I know Kaylee and I, when we did our youth pastor support webinar, I mean, the main thing is for the pastor to show up at events and at activities, because you can't get it in a meeting or PowerPoint. You got to be there, and you showing up tonight is a big deal. So thank you. Yeah,
Well, it's great for us. Thank you.
Yeah. How about Isaac? You're representing the South. I know you spoke at the young adult one, but this is youth and children.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Lena, for all the things you've developed. Yeah, I guess I personally, I haven't, maybe it's because I'm not a parent yet, haven't thought much about this area, but just when you said, how you see how important it is for, young kids to have like a positive, fun experience at church and to feel like it's a place for them to be. I could, clearly see how that can make such a big difference as they grow up and as they become teenagers. Naturally it'll be a place where they want to be, and a community that they want to be a part of. So yeah, I'm really excited for and hopeful that what you've developed can spread across our nation and in my own community as well. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Isaac. And I did want to hear from Christelle, since I haven't heard from you all night yet, so I'd like to hear your voice at least.
No, I think because I already knew kind of what Kaylee was doing with the youth ministry, and but to see what the young adult, how that's developing, and especially children's ministry, like as a future parent, it's very relieving to know that that's there already. So I guess just in general, it's really inspiring to see, and I'm excited to be a link, I guess, in a way for that. So yeah.
All right, thank you. We'll get to know each other more as the months go by, but it's a great team to work with. How about Jung Suk Nuna? Any comments? I guess you did already share, but you love the children's one.
Yeah, just a very quick comment. Just enough to share one thing. The Reverend Levi comment on one thing. His grandchild that asked him, Grandpa, are you gonna go the fun church this Sunday or your church? That was the grandson's comment. So my thinking, really, we need to make a fun church. Otherwise, we're gonna lose all our incredible potential Cheongguk, the people in the future. So that's it.
Awesome. We could make that a motto. That could be your invite line to people you're witnessing to. Are you going to fun church this week or your church? No, just kidding. Anyway, all right, so I want to give the last word back to Lena and Kaylee. So, yeah, Lena, you go first.
Yeah, I just thought of one thing I wanted to share. Was just so we just moved to Alabama, and one thing that's really neat about how God, our Heavenly Parent, works, and me doing this now, is that here we're definitely really focused on witnessing to young families, and we're going to be working a lot towards improving the kids ministry, getting a new building and everything. So we're excited to be able to kind of pilot and really try it out here, and share our best practices, what we learn, of course other communities too sharing. But yeah, I'm just excited for how everything's working out. And I also love these sub-regions at FamiCon. It just made so much sense. I love that there's all this more local ownership and identity based on each region and their culture, and what communities are like there. Or when Reverend Rendell shared about cornfields in the Midwest, every area has its own culture. So I'm excited for that, and excited to get to know you all more, and we're grateful for be sitting on all these calls and everything you're going to do. So, yeah, just happy to have this team, and thank you.
All right, thanks, Lena. And finally, Kaylee.
Just really quick, just thank you for making the time, because I think up until this point, it's really felt like the youth world is its own little world, but being able to develop these relationships and communicate and learn from one another, and, you know, for us to understand, you know, for the sub-regional directors, what it's like to be you, and vice versa, I think is just really healthy for our whole nation. So I feel very supported and loved by your participation and support in all of this. So thank you.
All right, well then that officially ends our call. So thank you for joining us on the first 2 main ministries. There's 3 more coming up, CARP, GPA, and a whole new area, YSP and Ocean Church. So we covered 2 of the main, or rather 3, but there's 3 more to come, okay? So that's